What is your criticism of Trump after 100 days?
Messaging. You were absolutely right, and I told the president this to his face, and he actually used it in a speech at CPAC. I said, there's never been a president ever who's done as much as you've done in 100 days. Number two is George Washington, because there was no country. Washington had to form it. But George was weighed down by Martha, his wife, hawking him, let's get out of New York City. She hated New York City.
Right.
And every day George would come home and there's Martha going, we got to get out of here. So Trump has done more in 100 days than any other president. Okay. And nobody's challenged me on it because it's not even close.
Correct.
FDR would be third. Okay. But the messaging of what he has done has been muddled in some areas, the tariff being the best example. So if you're going to mess with people's money, which is what the tariff thing does, it's basically saying, look, your investment portfolio may go down because we're changing everything in United States trade. But then it's going to surge after that. You got to sell that, Sid. You got to sell it.
Well, here's the problem, and here's where I agree with you. He does sell it, and what you just said is exactly the way he says it. Here's my issue. I watch all these stupid shows on Sunday morning. I only like Maria, but I watch them all, and here's where you're exactly right. Trump does exactly what you just said, but then I'll watch Scott Bessent, and then I'll watch Peter Navarro. I'll watch 5 people that Trump actually highlights his administration the next day on the Sunday morning shows, and I swear it's like 5 different messages.
That's right, and that's the problem. So I know why that problem exists, because the president is overwhelmed. It's as simple as that. He's a human being. He's overwhelmed.
Well, where the hell is Susie Wiles or somebody else to help him out?
That's not what happens. So I've been to 2 cabinet meetings, as you know, January 2nd and St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
All right, total time, 3 hours. 1 in Mar-a-Lago and 1 in the Oval Office. So I know what the dynamic is. I know how this runs. And Trump's advisors, his staff, basically are tentative because he's such a strong personality. So they're not running in saying, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. That's not what happens. Even with a guy like Elon Musk, who is a very strong personality, he's probably the most aggressive of them all. Navarro would be number 2. Stephen Miller has the most clout, but he doesn't say that much. Where him and Trump confer is on the ideology part. And so people have no idea, listening to us right now on WABC, how this runs, because it's not public. Now, to his credit, almost every day, Donald Trump sits there and answers questions from pinheads in the media, many of whom are hostile to him. Does he get any credit for that?
No.
When did you see Biden do that?
Never.
When did you see Bush the Younger do that?
Pretty much, well, early on after the initial disaster.
No.
Yeah.
He did not do that.
Yeah. No, but nobody
Right?
like Trump.
And Obama didn't do it either.
No, you're right.
So Trump is willing to sit there and answer these stupid questions, many of which are just designed to make him look bad. They're not looking for information. So my problem with that, all of that, is it's too all over the place. And you're right. You got 5 people parading out saying 5 different things. The American public is, they don't know. They don't. nobody still to this day understands what tariffs are anyway.
No, that specific tariff issue is the one that the messaging is really inconsistent. It's tough. I mean, look, you could even make an argument that it's somewhat inconsistent with the Hamas-Israel problem between Steve Witkoff and President Trump. So I see what you're talking about. I think the president always has the right message and says the right thing. It's just sometimes his people around him don't. I'll say this, too, and this is really going to bother you, but it's okay because we love each other. And that is, you ready for this? I don't care. Now you're saying, Sid, I don't care. I don't care about what? I don't care if President Trump is going after Letitia James because she went after him. Good. I don't care. I'm not better than they are. I don't want to be better. All this lawfare stuff that he went through, she deserves it, and she's guilty. There are 2 or 3 things she did on that mortgage piece of paper that are absolute lies. So I don't care if his whole motivation is, I'm getting back at this lady. I know you're going to hate this. Good.
I don't hate it.
Oh, good.
I don't. Look, I'm not in business to torture Letitia James.
I am.
Okay. And the president is. But I'm not. I'm looking for the story. And here's the story. That Donald Trump has been elected president, and he is going to seek retribution on people who have not only harmed him and his family, i.e., Attorney General James, but others who are imposing a far-left ideology that Donald Trump feels is destructive to the country. He's going after them. You can say it's payback time. You can say whatever you want. But I don't have a beef with it as long as it's explained. So let me give you an example. I'm a graduate of Harvard, okay? I paid my way right through, all right? I got a master's degree. Harvard's faculty is 82% left, far left. 82%. That doesn't happen by accident. That means that the people hiring professors at Harvard are looking for left-wing people. Why should my tax dollars go to Harvard to fund that ideological school?
They shouldn't.
Right. And any fair-minded person would go, no, I don't want my tax dollars. I don't want to pay for Rush Limbaugh University either. Okay?
Do they have that?
Well, if they don't, now that they heard me say it, they will in the Ozarks somewhere. But I don't want to pay for it. Okay? So I'm not sympathetic to Harvard. And they know me. And I said, look, if you guys come to Washington, I'll broker a truce for you because I can do that. But you're going to have to go in and say, we're going to stop this. We're not going to do this anymore. And if you do that, then there can be some détente.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Right, but Trump is right to stop that.
Of course he is. This is
and
heroic.
He's right to stop PBS and NPR.
Yep.
And he's right to sue 60 Minutes because these people are not honest. And if you're not honest, you shouldn't get taxpayer money. It's as simple as that. I'm a simple man, Sid.
Yep.
I'm even more simple than you,
Yeah.
and that is a low bar.
Listen, I couldn't agree more. All these things that are doing with the universities, and you're right, NPR and CBS, and all of it is fantastic. But I did find another place that you've been critical of Trump above and beyond the messaging, and that is, and if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think I heard you say this. You are not for the deportation, which I am. I've seen enough. I'm sorry. I've seen enough. But you are not for the deportation of this alleged MS-13 gang member, which is, to El Salvador. In fact, I think I heard you say they should bring him back here.
It's a little more subtle than that, so I understand why you don't understand it.
No, I know what you want. You want him to come back, get due process, and then get him out of here.
Look, here it is, so that everybody on the Upper West Side understands it. Okay? I'll speak slowly. This guy is a bad guy, this Garcia. Is he MS-13? Probably. But he's in the system. What does that mean? He snuck into the country. They caught him. And he immediately said, I want asylum because that's what Biden allowed everybody to do. The case was assigned to a judge. The judge is now adjudicating the case. In the meantime, the guy's got an American wife who he roughed up and an autistic child who live in Maryland. Okay? The guy gets swept up in a Tom Homan ICE raid and booted to El Salvador. Okay. We understand this guy was probably hanging with all of these MS-13s that got swept up, and he was there. Now, I don't feel sorry for this guy one bit, but the Supreme Court gets involved and says due process has to be upheld, and you got to facilitate his return. Now, if I'm President Trump, I want the Supreme Court to like me.
Sure.
Okay?
Of course.
I need them.
Yes.
I don't want to say blank you. I'm not going to facilitate it. So I would have the guy back already, fast track the asylum thing, which he's not going to get, and then boot him forever.
Right, which is what I
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a whole bunch of sense. I mean,
okay.
Either way, I'll take it. As long as he gets booted. I've heard Rich Lowry say this on my show as well at other places, that his issue is not that he gets deported because he also agrees he's a bad guy and he shouldn't be here. But he said until there's really irrefutable proof, sending him to El Salvador is one thing, but how do you send him to a prison? How do you feel about that?
I'm not. Look, these guys were sent down there. The Salvadorans are getting paid to warehouse them.
He loves it.
That's the deal.
Right. We saw the president sitting with President Trump, and he loves it.
So Salvador needs the money, and we're paying him the warehouse. So they don't care whether this guy is in the asylum process in the USA. They're looking at this guy going, there's your cell. That's it. And now he's out of there, by the way, because of all of the publicity. But the interesting part of this story is that the far left, the Trump haters, somehow want to sanctify this man.
Yeah, well, they do it with all of them. They do it with Mahmoud Khalil. They do it with Luigi Menchi.
That's right.
I mean, you get this disgusting, despicable Chris Van Hollen. I talked about this for days. We've got Edon Alexander being held for nearly 600 days and getting tortured every day by Hamas. Have any of these Democrats, the answer is not one, have any of these Democrats made their way towards Gaza? No, innocent tenant-like kid being tortured. But this scumbag, this possible MS-13 gang member, 5 of them went to El Salvador. How do you explain that?
But it's so stupid because you can't explain it. And that's why the Democratic Party and the far-left movement is on the skids. Because regular Americans don't feel sorry for this Garcia. I don't know one person who feels sorry for him. Do you know anybody personally who feels sorry for this guy? I don't.
Not one.
Yeah. So Senator Van Hollen can run down there and do whatever he wants to do. He's hurting his own cause. That's what he's doing. So conservatives should say, hey, why don't you get a condo down there, Senator? You know, I know that country because I covered the war down there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is one tough place.
Tough.
Very poor.
Yeah.
It's not any similar to America at all. People go to these third world countries and they think that they're in the same circumstance. You're not.
No.
And the president of El Salvador suspended all civil liberties, but he had to because MS-13 was running the country and slaughtering people at an astronomical rate. And the only way you can get that under control is by dictatorial powers, which the guy did. And he broke them. But people don't know that. They don't know what's going on down there. But the essential question is, Trump did not lose any currency on that deportation with the folks. He did. But when you get back to the folks' money, that has got to be ultra careful on how you present that kind of thing. And now he is reversing himself, President Trump, a bit. And that's a smart thing. One more point on this. Our second largest trade partner is Switzerland. Did you know that?
I did not.
No one does. Our first largest trade partner is Mexico. In Switzerland, last Friday, a deal was made with the Roche Pharmaceutical Company. Huge. They are going to spend $500 billion to move pharmaceutical plants from Switzerland to the United States. Did you know that?
I did not.
Because it wasn't reported.
Well, why not?
Because the press hates Trump, and that's a huge victory.
That's right. Listen, I give you credit on the way out of this. Another unbelievable conversation, because I don't remember anybody else in the media talking about this as long as you have, and that is calling out the media. You know, even before.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's gotten. But even before it got this ugly, you had your complaints about the liberal media and some of the people on the right as well. And now it's just gotten to the point where it's ridiculous.
But Americans know it. So it's not anything we don't know. And that's why your radio program is flourishing. And my independent news operation is the most successful in the world. Did you know I got scolded by the president of Malaysia last week?
I can tell you that's when you know you made it, right?
Right. The guy comes out because I said that President Xi going to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Malaysia to try to make trade deals to try to offset the USA was one of the dumbest moves in the world because those people don't have any money.
Oh, boy.
They don't have any money.
It's true.
They can't buy anything. They're not buying a hat that says, "Go Hanoi." They're not buying it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the president of Malaysia hears my commentary because it's on YouTube all over the world, and he holds a press conference that says O'Reilly's a colonialist.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So then I reply, "What's your per capita income, Mr. President?" It's $5,000 a year.
Oh, my God.
In Malaysia. So how much Chinese stuff are you going to buy? You don't have any money, as I said. But I love being scolded by the president of Malaysia.
That's great. You know, in the final 30 seconds, talking about China, last time you were on, you scared Danielle. I got up at dinner that night. She said, he's not really going there, is he? And Trump told you the same thing, flat out told you the same thing. Are you still considering going to make a speech in Beijing?
It's still on.
It's still on?
Yeah, and I think by the time I get there at the end of May, they'll have a deal. Because I know that there's back channel talks going on all over the place.
Well,
China can't.
No, they can't sustain this. But here's the thing.
Right.
They better have a deal. Because if they don't, I'll need a new guest at 8:50 on Thursdays.
Well, I think I could probably do a remote from the gulag.
Bill, another Grand Slam home run in the spirit of our red-hot New York Mets. Another Grand Slam home run. I love you. Thank you.